We're gonna be spitting hot takes to stream. I just want to know if we're gonna be spitting hot takes to stream. What is good, everybody? Welcome to yet another stream. It's your boy, and we back in here with another episode, or I guess another video slash stream of Manga Book Club for Tokyo Ghoul, volumes 5 through 8, chapters 49. Let me see, what chapters was it? It's chapters 40 through 79. I actually had to read the last volume today because when it comes to Tokyo Ghoul, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it's not that interesting to me. I'm just being real. It's not that interesting. Now, I do have to give a good note that my boy Cass, he be hitting the nail on the spot when he be telling me which volumes it is where it turns up. You get what I'm saying? And he was right this time too. He was right the last time, he was right this time. I don't know why I keep thinking, I'm like, Cass might be gassing. But Cass don't be gassing. Cass be giving the right amount of expectations for me when it comes to this series, Tokyo Ghoul. And Tokyo Ghoul Season 2 versus Promised Neverland Season 2. I haven't watched Tokyo Ghoul Season 2, but I have watched some of Promised Neverland Season 2 on stream. We watched some of it on stream, and we all voted to drop that bad boy. So, there's that right there. Promised Neverland, we don't talk about Season 2. Season 2 never existed. It was fan-made. Tokyo Ghoul manga, not is practically flawless. Nani? Nani? I enjoy Promised Neverland Season 2 more. Oh, that must mean Tokyo Ghoul Season 2 was bad. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Tokyo Ghoul, the manga, obviously, because I've watched Season 1 of the manga. I've read, obviously, season 1 of. I mean, I watched season 1 of the anime, and I read season 1 material from the manga. I think we're a little bit past that, or we're at least up there, or we're a little bit past it. I think like a few chapters past it, and it's enjoyable. The thing with me is with Tokyo Ghoul, I like the action. I like the action way more. To me, which is one reason I like shonen a lot. Most of the time, the action, I mean, the story is told a lot through some of the fights, or some of the character motivations, or some of the character struggles and stuff like that. It's told and shown throughout the fight. Like the fight helps. The fight helps give a metaphor for what the characters are going through, but it's just a physical metaphor. And when it comes to Tokyo Ghoul, it obviously doesn't rely on the fights, even though right now, where we're at right now, it's heavily it's like super heavy action. Like every time we get to some action stuff, it takes up like a volume or two, which I do like. I like that. But Tokyo Ghoul season 2 is anime original. People been needing to die. Come on. I'm sorry. I like to see people die. That is factual, but I think it's time to actually start the event that we do have planned in the Discord itself. I think it's time to start it. I'm starting the event, and if you're not part of the Discord now, ! Open Discord in the chat. You'll be able to join the Discord. Make sure you verify yourself, reading the welcoming rules tab, and I'm gonna mute myself on here because I don't think you guys need to hear me yet on here. But yeah, oh, my boy Cass is here already. Thank you. But Tokyo Ghoul, the fights are cool. I mean, Ken Kaneki's transformation or evolution, whatever we want to call it, it was cool. Even though the whole white hair thing isn't, it wasn't explained. Like it was one chapter he was white haired. Next chapter, Mudbear's open Discord! ! Open Discord. What up to? The whole white hair thing, it was just random. I was like, okay. I'm like, okay. I do like Jason. The Chosen is here. Oh, yeah, I've been here, bro. White hair cause stress. Yo, he wasn't going through that much. I'm taking the back seat here. Oh God, from being tortured. See, I if they actually explain that literally with the manga like that, no, I'm not gonna like that. I'm not gonna lie to. I'm not gonna like that. If they explain it in the manga like that, I'm not gonna like it like that. Click this link to join. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, what we read so far. I don't know if you guys want me to unmute myself in the Discord or not, but what we have seen so far in the manga, I do like the action. Ken Kaneki, he's already killed Jason. He has beaten Toka's brother, I think his name is Ayato, half to death, which I think is cool because he was naming all the bones and stuff and the numbering of the bones and saying like, I'm literally gonna beat you half to death, so I'm gonna crush half of your bones, which I think that was super dope. I don't know if Ayato has a regenerative ability. I know basically if like they eat humans, they kind of regenerate, but I know Ken Kaneki's ability, since he has Rize's organs inside of him, her ghoul organs inside of him, I know that he's able to regenerate a bit faster, or he regenerates a lot more faster than a lot of the other ghouls, which is why Jason or Yamori or Umori, I don't know which one to go by. Is it Yamori or Umori? But yeah, he's torturing him, doing all that type of stuff, which he keeps torturing him because it's fun and he has this regenerative ability, and he tells like Ken Kaneki, count backwards from 1000 by increments of 7. I thought that was insane, especially when they're counting. It kind of also shows you like how much time has passed through the counting, and it's just the only thing that's keeping him sane, like that's keeping him in his right mind. And when that boy broke through them chains, he broke through and he started giving Jason the 1-2, and Jason was crying for help. He was begging for help. It gave me like Frieza like vibes, kind of, when Frieza was begging Goku to spare him. But I was like, nah, Ken, you gotta kill him, bro. But Ken's whole thing where he he's going crazy in his mind. Rize is there. Rize is making him break down. Or I don't know if Rize is actually living within him, like a Kurama Sakuna type deal, or if it's like a figment of his imagination. I'm not really sure. He does have her organs in there, but I don't really know how the whole ghoul thing happens. Maybe that might explain it later. I don't know. But you know, she's just talking to him, and it gives us more insight into Kaneki's past life, how you know, his mother died, well, his father died, then his mother died. You know, he connected through his father through books. When his mother died, he felt alone. He started living with his aunts or his other side of the family or whatever. And they just started ridiculing him, making him feel like an outcast or a loner inside that part of the family. So we get that character development for Ken Kaneki. And then once, you know, he takes a bite of Rize within that crazy state, like, you know, he just go, like, I also don't get that part either. Like, was he just like, did a switch snap it? I mean, like, did a switch like just like, you know, just snap in him? Like, did he just like, okay, it's time for me to go crazy? Like, was that symbolism for a switch snapping? I mean, a switch, you know, like flickering like on and off inside of him, or is he like accepting the power of Rize? Like, I don't know. But I finally catch a live stream. Let's go. Oh yeah, thank you. Yo, Sage, how's it going? It's all right, little nuggies. How are you? But yeah, in the anime, he just pressed him, I think. Huh? The Eto fight doesn't happen in the anime. Whoa, no. That fight needs to happen in the anime. That fight was intense. I do like that fight. I like when Ayato, I think, like, that's his name, right? Ayato, when he's about to stomp on Toka. I hope I'm saying her name right. Toka, I don't know. When he's about to stomp on her and Ken just saves her, he's like, "You're not going to be alone." I'm like, oh. I'm like, even though Ken's whole character thing, when he went crazy, I was like, you're not that much of a Chad yet to me. But when he did that snap and he saved Toka, oh, like, okay, this is going somewhere, and I like where this is going. I like Chad Ken. I need a Chadiki. I don't know what to call him, but I do like that part of Ken Kaneki, just like, you know, like, oh, I'm confident, I know my skills, like I'm stronger than all y'all. Like, to me, it gave me a Super Saiyan vibes when Goku was Super Saiyan. He finally embraced his inner ghoul. Okay, so that's what I was thinking, because he did say I am a ghoul or something like that. And so then I know Jason is one of those people, Yamori, whatever his name is. He was one of the most feared ghouls in the 13th ward. I think it's the 11th or 13th ward, because he's a cannibal. He eats other ghouls, which is insane, which I guess strengthens his RC cells, which are his blood, which is his ghoul blood cells or whatever, strengthen him. And then Kaneki obviously fought him. He started eating Jason's Kagune. But then the Juzo or Jozu guy came in, the guy that's part of the CCG, the ghoul hunters. He came in, and I guess he either took the rest of Jason's Kagune or he's planning to take it. I don't know. Juzo is one of those wild cards that I really don't know what he's gonna do. So I'm really trying to see what he's gonna do. I'm pretty sure Matt and two of them too know what he's gonna do later on. But right now he's that wild card that I'm like, yo, what is he gonna do, and what are they setting up with this Juzo character? And then obviously we have the Owl character, who hasn't really killed a human yet, but he's a very like powerful ghoul. Like, he's a triple S rank ghoul. So I don't know. There's a few questions I have. Like, I'm thinking Yoshimura is the Owl. I'm assuming. I'm not sure, but I'm assuming he's the Owl. The doctor obviously knows what he was doing, putting Rize's organs inside of Ken Kaneki. And I know Jason had a bone to pick with the actual doctor himself. Then we have the whole band of ghouls who are trying to betray Ayato, who are trying to run away, Banjo and them, who are now joining Kaneki's force. Ken Kaneki now being a leader of a new ghoul, I guess, team or squad. And they're going to go figure out some of the questions that he has to get some answers. And the Gourmet even joins them. Like, the Gourmet joins them. And I think the one panel that made me laugh was the panel where he was like, if you try anything funny, I'll kill you. And now the Gourmet is like a subordinate to Ken Kaneki, because obviously I guess Ken is way stronger, like out of his league type stuff. So yeah, he finally versus the cool. Kaneki Ken made me feel like I could go through anything. It was my first dark anime. Understandable. No, I actually went in the dungeon and dyed his hair myself. Oh, that's dope, bro. That's dope. Kaneki just forgot to take his schizophrenia pills. That's why he sees Rize. Oh, okay. Wait, does the coffee actually suppress that? He started eating Jason's what? Kagune. He started eating his Kagune. Isn't that his name? Kagoon or Kagune? Jason was a good character to drive the plot forward. The same can't be said about his subordinates. Agreed. Unteku. Yeah, Unteku. Yeah, eating ghouls gives you more RC cells, which gives you stronger regenerative abilities and a stronger kakuja. But you also lose yourself. But yeah, right now, I am obviously unmuting myself from the stage. For anyone who does want to come on stage and say anything about this week's reading for Tokyo Ghoul, I thought this week's portion some of it was super dialogue heavy, and I was like, whoa, I'm getting bored now. Like, you're giving me too much information at one time instead of spreading it out and pacing it out evenly amongst the action. Like, it's funny because it's like one part is like super dialogue heavy, then the next part is super action heavy, and I'm like, we literally go for one thing. It's never like small fights in between the heavy dialogue portions. It's just literally heavy dialogue for a few chapters, then it's heavy action for a few chapters, and it is that back and forth where I'm like, I don't know, I guess it's jarring to me, if that's the correct term to use. It's pretty jarring to me. I personally don't like it, but I also come from reading a lot of shonen series where the action is a bit mixed in within the world building and some of the explanations for some of the stuff that's in that world itself. So yeah, shonen boys no like read. Facts. But yeah, eating ghouls gives you more RC souls, which gives you. Now I gotta ask, because it took us 2 weeks to read 5 through 8. Have any of you guys read it, or are you guys just going off of prior knowledge that you know? Like, are you actually keeping up? Is 4 volumes too much? Because we're almost done with Tokyo Ghoul. We're like a little bit past halfway. We finished volume 8, and we got 9. Let me see. We got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We got 6 volumes left. I read it. 4 volumes is fine. Folks just suck at time management. I definitely suck at time management. I suck at time management, but also if I start getting bored, then I start doing something else. Like I literally tried to read every single day, but then I was like, yo, like I'm getting bored. Let me read something else. And so that's when I started to read a lot of other Nasty Man titles. Now I've only read volumes 1 through 8 and read them on pace with you. Understandable. I would reread, but 3 rereads feel like too much. I mean, understandable too. If you read it twice already, I'm talking about the people who probably haven't like read it at all. Like I know some of the people who watch the anime or read the manga, I could crush 3 in 2 hours. That's actually fair. Me, I don't know. Like, there's only a few certain series that keep me like reading for hours. Like, I think Dragon Ball Super was one that kept me reading for hours. One Piece is one that kept me reading for hours. Chainsaw Man, I couldn't say it kept me reading for hours because I caught up pretty quickly, so I was going weekly at that point. Black Clover kept me reading for hours. Berserk kept me reading for hours. Yeah, not many series really kept me. Yeah, not many series keep me reading for hours. And Tokyo Ghoul sadly has to be added to that mix of series that I could not read for a long time. Like I had to literally pace myself. Like usually I could do 1 volume a day for any series. Tokyo Ghoul, I had to do like 2 or 3 chapters out the volume. Sometimes I had to just push through it. I had to push past my limits sometimes when it came to Tokyo Ghoul because woo, it was. But that was my Demon Slayer box set. I do have the Demon Slayer box set coming in today, so yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. With Tokyo Ghoul, a lot of the times when it came to the actual exposition of stuff, like the whole CCG part of the story, I wasn't interested at all with it. I didn't connect with any of those characters. The only character I like is Amon. I don't know if it's intentionally like that. And the second bum boy. Wait, what? You had me in the first up. What up, bro? You cut your own hair? No. I have a barber for that. Oh, thank you for the host, Joe Sillo. Highly appreciate that. Yeah, CCG is hecka boring, especially in Reed. Yeah, see, I didn't like. I get Amon's character because I was pretty sure like later on. I'm assuming, I don't know that. So don't say I'm saying spoilers when I really don't know. I'm guessing. I'm assuming he's supposed to be him and Kaneki are supposed to be those 2 people that bridge the gap between humans and ghouls. I don't know if they actually meet at one point, like, you know, meet halfway for humans and ghouls within that world. I don't know. And I also want to know how, like Jerry said earlier on the last one, I want to know like how ghouls get on Earth. Like, is it like a parasite thing or like what? I don't know. Let me cut your hair, bro. I already have a barber. That's the number one thing you can't do in life. You can't cheat on your barber. Can't do that. But yeah, CCG stuff, boring. A lot of exposition, boring. Yoshimura, he has something sneaky about him. I don't trust him. Was he the one that dropped them steel beams on Rize and Ken Kaneki so Ken Kaneki can become a ghoul? And then, you know, Ken is now leaving Anteku. And I think Toka is like, you know, she got a little feelings for my boy because now I think she become emotionally dependent on my boy Ken Kaneki, especially when they had a little flashback when Toka taught him taught him wrongly. And then when Yoshimitsu was like, "Oh, you're doing that wrong," he was like, "Didn't Toka teach you?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I must have just accidentally forgot." I think Toka's catching feelings for my boy Ken Kaneki. I'm just because she was ready to say, "I want to go," and he was like, "No, you got school to go to, and you still got to work at Inteku." Him and Nishio, he pushed Nishio off. I think Nishio kind of got. Thank you for the follow, Deviant Banana. I think Nishio got what Ken Kaneki was saying in that point, but I'm like, what the Toka doing, man? What the Toka? I enjoyed the last 2 volumes. I enjoyed volume 7 and 8 of what we read. 5 and 6, the dialogue heavy ones. Like when you spread the information out, I like it. When you just give me a whole bunch of information, I'm like gone. When he was learning about Nen, that's what it was like to me. It was just smoke was coming out of my ears. I'm like, I'm tired of reading this. I want to do something else. Toka is best girl. 2 is my Toka. Chase Dark Sage, how are you? Feeling good? Enjoying Twitch? I hope you are having fun. It seems I was not able to interact. It requires me to follow you. Oh yes. What up, Deviant Banana? Yeah, I put it on there because a lot of people come in here and they like to either just send links or they just say random stuff or they do racist stuff. So I put it on followers only, even though they still follow and say that stuff. So I don't know. My favorite time period in Tokyo Ghoul is volume 7 through 14 is peak. Toka mid? Is Toka mid? I also didn't talk about Toka's backstory with Ayato, which, their father passed. Their mother, I believe, had died already. The father was killed by some of the CCG people, and you could see when Toka and Ayato were kind of splitting. You can always see where they were different in their personalities and their viewpoints, but they were really splitting once they got older as teenage ghouls, I guess, or whatever. Like when they met the gourmet, like when they had that interaction with the gourmet, you could see where their mindsets were. Like Ayato's like, "Yo, there's no point. That's useless." And Toka's like, "You know what? I think we could live amongst the humans. I want to be closer with the humans." Well, her girl best friend or whatever. But yeah, Toka kind of edgy. That's facts. That is facts. Toka, Ken, he wasn't edgy, but he was very bland at the beginning. He still is bland to me. Like he's not an MC that has just really made me like, wow, that was great. Like the only times I really liked Ken Kaneki was during these last 2 volumes where he was turning up. You get what I'm saying? That was literally the only time I really liked Ken. Besides that, I'm like, he's not a reactive character in a fun way to me. He's not a very interesting character. I like that he now has a motive of he wants to figure out what this whole ghoul thing, like how is he involved in it and all that type of stuff. So I do want to figure that out. Yosu, who's that? His best girl from JoJo's Part 8. It's Casca's waifu. Oh, I see. I don't know that. Now Casca best girl, and I'll take that to my grave. Casca isn't best girl, she is waifu. I can agree with that. Casca waifu, Toka side only. Sheesh. Now I'm actually fully ready. Does anyone have anything that they want to say? I see Cass and I see my boy Jerry in the audience, and Jerry said that we are going to have to wait for his opinions on Tuesday at 5:30, which is a little past then. Sorry, but the floor is now anyone who wants to join and give their thoughts. Oh boy, Jerry's going to go. The floor is now open to people who do want to give their thoughts on what we have read this week. Just let me know. Ken's personality development is why I'm here. Wait, why? I don't get it. I'm gonna have to fry him. Oh God. Kaneki, Jerry, let me speak. You're not in the stage too. In the but yeah. Water down Pop is asking for Jerry, and Clockwise Mad is asking for Jerry. Overall, Tokyo Ghoul is fine. I definitely wouldn't recommend it to anyone as of right now. It's not recommendable for me right now. I'll say that. It's not recommendable. Y'all be real with me, boys. Y'all, oh yes. I know I'm joking. I feel like I don't count since I haven't been reading. But you know the material well, don't you too? I mean, I know you don't want to speak, but I'm saying like the material well. So I won't, but obviously I don't want you to accidentally say something that that happens later on, but you think it might happen earlier. So yeah, that's a thing right there. What up, Jerry? What up? I see Jerry has entered the chat. Yes, my G. I need to roast Quee Jerry. That's peak Jerry. Oh, I need to roast Quee Jerry. That's peak Jerry. So what do you expect him to roast? That's the real question. Same, but it's been some time. Jerry, are you there?
Chase, can you hear me?
Oh, you scared the mess out of me. Yes.
Shit, sorry. Another week of book clubbing, boys.
Yep, we're just a step closer to reading Demon Slayer now.
Just another step closer. So what'd you think, Chase, of this week's chapter? I mean, I kind of heard your thoughts as I was listening just now, but I don't know. You feel like Tokyo Ghoul is stepping up?
I feel like if this series would lean more to the action side of things, because I feel like the series doesn't. I don't know. I just feel like the action is out of place sometimes. Like for what the series is, I feel like the action is out of place. But for me, the best parts of it, especially pacing wise, is the action. Like when stuff is going down, that's when the only interesting stuff is really happening to me. Like when something like something actionable is going down, like when the the steel beams fell on Ken. Interesting. I want to figure that out. I want to figure out the mystery of who set the steel beams off. The fight between Ken Kaneki and Jason and Ayato. Every time the action comes in, I like it. When it's just talking, and it's just like, I'm like, yo, like, I'm done. Especially the CCG stuff. When they be having chapters on chapters for the CCG stuff, I be out of there. I be bored out of my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole manga is kind of boring, honestly. But I mean, maybe I'm being a little too harsh. But
so what do you find boring about it, I guess?
I think the whole setup is, I mean, I kind of explained in our first thing, and I think that this part 2, like our second 4 volumes, did nothing to like alleviate some of my fears, I guess. I think that what Tokyo Ghoul's like biggest issue is it's balancing its world building with its plot progression. And I think that what it kind of messes up with, well, not mess up. I'd say one of the things that potentially like leads to its boring side is that it just has a difficult time like navigating how to build the world while still progressing the plot, and instead it almost takes like minor breaks in order to.
I'm about to say, do you feel like it just takes a standstill when it's actually trying to give exposition for the world? Okay.
Right. So we have, I mean, over the course of these 4 volumes, we were mainly it was actually all kind of one arc, other than the very front end of volume 5, right? Volume 5 started with like the finale of the what's his name, the gourmet or whatever, but then this arc, what do you call it? Like the escape from Ward 11 arc? I don't know what else to call it.
I guess the Ken Kaneki rescue mission arc. I don't know.
Yeah, Ken Kaneki rescue arc. That arc kind of took up a majority of our reading for this group, and on one hand, you know, it's cool because, but overall, like, I mean, thinking about it and asking the viewers as well, like, what like genuinely happened in this? This is almost what 3.5 volumes. What plot actually happened in this arc?
I guess Ken isn't. I guess really the only thing is that. See, that's hard. I guess the one thing is like Ken accepted his ghoulness, and now he's full-fledged on let's go find out what happened to my ghoul, what happened to the ghoul stuff and why I'm like this. Essentially, I guess that's the only thing that really progressed. I told you I like the action, and you know, with me, especially a lot of times with shonen stuff, because obviously I'm so used to shonen stuff. I like it when they tell the story through the action, like when we was getting the backstory, like when Ayato and Toka was fighting, you got the backstory for that. I'm like, all right, cool. I really like this.
Yeah.
Sasuke retrieval arc, both mid. Okay, we're not going to say the Sasuke retrieval arc is mid now. We're not about to say that.
But I think that what comes to mind, Chase, I think you're really right, is that we made it through like 40 chapters, and the reality of it is that the plot itself really didn't progress much. We just didn't like move forward much. But this section of 40 chapters was very exposition heavy.
So so we agree. Okay, so we agree on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This section especially had a lot of exposition, and it actually answered some questions I had from the first half of the first 4 volumes. It actually started answering a couple of my questions. You know, one thing I brought up with Matt last week was, why was Toka eating the human food, right? In this volume, we got that illuminated, right? We know more about her father, about how her father's expectation was to make them try to blend in and live with people, and how her brother and her sort of have opposing concepts of the way that a ghoul should function in society. And I think that that is like, you know, I want to use the word finally. It felt like, you know, Toka's actions finally had some validation in some building around them, which to me was probably one of the best. Toka, to me, is one of the better written characters so far in the series. I think she actually has a bit of depth to her. She's not very one note. She has reason, motivation, and the author, Sui Ishida, has kind of built a pretty, I don't know, and you can agree with me or not, Chase. I don't know how you feel, but Toka is one of the few characters that I feel like when she does something, I understand why she's doing it, or I at least am thinking, okay, now. And I think that this actually was the best exposition that occurred in this 4 books was Ayato and Toka's exposition, because it happened in the midst of action. We got it over the course of a fight, and it was a hanging thread, right? We met Ayato at the beginning of this arc, and it was something that kind of continued throughout. We got little teases, and then we got the finale. And I think that that was some of Ishida's better writing in this first 80, or, you know, what are we at, 80 chapters now? In the first 80 chapters, I actually liked, so I think we probably liked it for different reasons, but I think that we both liked Ayato and Toka's battle and conclusion there. I especially liked the note by Kin, who is a very different character all of a sudden, by the way. What the fuck is going on with him?
So yeah, that's why I was like, I don't feel like he's a Chad yet. Like, it was just, it was literally like his hair changed. Like, it literally happened from the flip of a page. I was like, what just happened? So yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I don't know, the way he is.
He went torture Saiyan, bro.
Yes, he did. Yes, I mean, I'm not gonna lie though. When he was, I thought that he was like, you know, like when they do like the little black bubbles when they speak with the white words or whatever. And I'm thinking like that's like their other personality, like really coming out and going crazy. See, I'd rather something like that happen for Ken Kaneki, where he's like battling like a different version of him, rather than both those versions like just, I guess, converging and meeting at one and be like, oh yeah, it's like when we saw like Bruce Banner and the Hulk merge their body and mind in not Infinity War but in Endgame. To me, that's where Ken is, and I'd rather have that duality of a crazy Ken Kaneki like we had earlier within the series, fighting more noble, more I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to eat them, but if I got to, I will type stuff. And I can understand if he does that with a villain instead of a human, but I just rather have that duality amongst Ken Kaneki, his character, me personally though.
No, I agree.
I'd rather him be battling through that struggle, because now he kind of converged with it, and it's so early within the series, especially with the second part being greed. I'm like, okay, so he's just not going to struggle with that no more. Okay, I'm all right. And he's already wasn't an interesting character either.
Yeah. Okay, I want to ask you, Chase, because I'm curious. What did you think about Juzo Suzuya? This was sort of like, I'd say that of this arc, he was kind of the main like character they introduced. I don't know how else to explain it. Like,
he stood out too much. He was a wild card. If you had a Uno deck, he is the wild card. Like, he was too wild. Like, I was like, and I guess my thing, like, you know, when he stole Ken Kaneki's wallet, I'm like, all right, there's this random guy that stole it. I thought, you know, he was about to die right after that. Turns out he was part of the CCG. When he met that one cop that he kept telling he was part of the CCG, he bit his ear off and killed him. And it was like, all right, we'll just pay his family off just to let him know that, you know, he died or whatever. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't get his purpose right now. And then he's just super crazy. I guess he's super powerful. He's really just off the wall. He's like that. He's like a Joker to me. Where it's like, I don't know his purpose. What is he there for? He's not saying, oh, I want to like eradicate all ghouls and make it a human. Like, he doesn't seem like he really wants peace. He just seems very chaotic. What is it? Chaotic neutral or whatever it's called?
Yeah,
or
that's
evil?
What they say,
Yeah. To me, that's what he just comes off as to me.
He's the chaotic neutral.
Yeah, because I'm just like, what is his purpose? And he just seems so like just out of there. And, you know, they never really give too much context besides he gets a pass for doing these wild things.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how they're going to continue to build that. To me, it feels like the author... What was the name of the character in the first half of the series? I can't think of his name right
Amon?
now.
Is it Amon?
No, not Amon, but the crazier guy that was with
Motto?
Amon.
Motto?
Motto. to me, Juzo Suzuya was an attempt by Sui Ishida to like create that dynamic a second time, but flip it, right? So like instead of Mato being like a mentor to Amon, now Amon has to become a mentor to a character that's like Mato or has sort of that same sort of craziness to him as Mato's character did. That's kind of the vibe I got, but to me he came off as just a bit underwhelming is the word I want to use.
Hold up a second, Jerry. Owen, you good?
Owen?
Tokyo Ghouls made Demon Slayer for Manga Bookclub December 2021.
Oh my
god.
What up?
But what was you saying, Jerry?
My boy. Oh no, yeah, I love you, Owen. But no, the major thing to me is that Juzo just was he just didn't work. I don't know how else to put it. Like, I think there was an attempt made there to make him sort of the second second juxtaposition or that sort of element to Amon. And I just think that unfortunately it just didn't really click. I don't know. Clearly they said it. I mean, this is obviously like major spoilers for the end of volume 8. But what do you think about his sort of finale moment at the end of the arc?
Hold up a second, Jerry. Cass, I already invited you to speak. I guess it's on your end that you have to come in. That's why you might be okay. See, Cass in. But when it comes to his are you talking about his finale towards him finding Jason and? No,
well, yeah,
or him actually seeing Ken Kaneki.
He took Jason for the expectation of. I mean, we know as the reader why he took him because we heard him say it as he took the body. Right, he wants to use it for his. What are those things called?
The Kinke? Yeah.
For his Kinke. And, that was kind of his, annoying quirk about him. He was like, why can't I have a Kinke? Where's my Kinke at? Like, every fucking time he was on fucking screen as if we didn't get it, you stupid cock. That's just one thing that I really, like, Ishida, listen, like, if I know he's not listening, I know the author's not listening, but you don't have to treat your audience like they're stupid. Like, we get it. Like, you don't have to hammer in a character trait so much that it becomes annoying. Like, that's just one of the things, like, I get it. Juzo is young. He's supposed to be kind of brash. And he really wants his Kinke. You didn't need him to say it every time he was on screen. You know what I mean? Like, I like, we get the character trait. We didn't need to take up more panel time, more reading time for us to continuously, like, push that in on. And I mentioned this in the first stream because it seems to be something Ishida struggles with is that, like, once he keys in on, like, a character trait, he just kind of overdoes it. Like, he just overdoes the character trait. And I think that's the major thing is that, like, I don't love that about Juzo. I think that I'm now more curious about where he's going as of the end of this 4 volumes.
I just wonder if he's going to become like power crazy and Amon and Kaneki have to team up. I don't want it to be predictable. But also, like,
Chase, there's a lot that is pretty fucking predictable, but that's exactly where it seems like it's going.
See,
I mean, the fact Amon and Kaneki teaming up feels like
it's foreshadowed heavily.
I feel like it was foreshadowed pretty heavily in their very first encounter. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Even if it's just to take on some, because the reality of it is what the world has continually showed us is that. I mean, look at Jason, right? He was a fucked up. Like, first there was the gourmet. He was a fucked up ghoul.
I like that.
He's not even that fucked up because now we know Jason, who is even more fucked up, right?
I like that. Thank you, Owen.
What do you do?
He just hosted the stream.
Oh, I love you, Owen. But for me, it's like like the idea is that we're getting more and more fucked up ghouls, but we're also getting more and more crazy, justice-driven. CCG members. So clearly there's bad on both sides. And I just feel like the author from day one has already set up this it's very if it doesn't happen, I'm going to feel like a scrub, but it does seem as if there is going to be a common goal at some point. I'm not saying they're going to fully team up or that they're going to have like some big moment with hopefully they don't have like a father-son Kamehameha or something. But
oh God.
If there's some moment where the two of them have to have some aligned goal, it does feel like the author has set some of that groundwork up. In doing so, he's just gonna have to keep one-upping himself. I feel like the author just has like, you know, like the gourmet was crazy, but then he was like, I gotta find something crazier, so I'm gonna come up with this Jason character.
I mean, true.
It's like the craziest, you know. So who's crazier than Jason? You know what I mean? Like how much crazier can we get? I don't know.
All right. I mean, true, because the gourmet to me is one of those like, it's one of those like Toguro situations where it's like, dang, Toguro seems pretty powerful, and then it was like, oh, he's just a class B demon. Let's get to these rank S demons type stuff.
Yeah.
To me, that's what it gave me the vibe of, where it's like, dang, this is powerful. Okay, we got to one up this, and I'm like, wait, huh?
Mm-hmm. With long running shonen, well, this isn't a shonen, but with long running series in general, you kind of
like
always fall into this. You fall into this. Oh, what?
I said, feels like it.
Yeah, you just sort of fall into this trap of like, how do we one up ourselves, or how do we continue to do better? And sometimes that can
works
really
well.
work. You know, I think a lot about the scaling that's done in a show like One Piece, which to me is a very impressively done amount of scaling, because the characters, the world, everything that happens around it is slowly powering up around our protagonists, and so it makes sense to one up. But also, One Piece did a good job of setting up in the very first bits of One Piece, right? The admirals and the Yonko are the strongest in this world. So that's always still the truth. Like, here we are 1,000 chapters later, and those are still the absolute strongest, you know, like they're, no matter how much more powerful our protagonist has gotten, he still is like having to struggle through, knowing that after 1,000 chapters of build up, that character is there. And there's tons of other great examples of like being able to never like always being able to power scale yourself. And I wanted to point out Tokyo Ghoul showed us one of those in this arc, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on him, Chase, and Cass as well. Cass, you're in here now. The one-eyed owl.
Okay.
I want to hear. I mean, that was there, and yes, he was unfortunately introduced with one of the most exposition-heavy pages I've ever seen.
Oh, you talking about that double-page spread?
Bro, what
Yo, I was like, no. I literally like I saw that words. I was like, nope. It's time for me to skim. I'm not reading all that. I skimmed. That was the first time I was like, yo, I gotta skim that. That was too much.
What the fuck? Like I was like, what is he doing? I was like, why did he draw one picture and then write a goddamn light novel?
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm like, I can only imagine how the anime does a scene like that. Like, is it one of those like slow pans where they just slowly go into the character while they're just talking for like 10 minutes, half the episode, going over that?
Right. That is a great question.
No, my God, that was just. I was like, yo, I'm out of here. Like that and the CCG exposition. And now I do like that they tried to, I guess, establish a power system, quote unquote.
That's what was happening in this part as well. With the, what was it? It was like, what did he said? It was like rock paper scissors, but with an extra piece, right?
Yeah, and I'm like,
yeah.
I guess my thing is like, with One Piece, it's very easy to establish. When it comes to Kagunes, I can't tell what's happening on the screen half the time when I'm reading it. Like, it's just like little stabs happening, like little swords and stabs happening all around.
I mean, that's also why they introduced Juso, kind of, because he didn't understand it, so that they used him to explain the power system, because at that point, they hadn't done that at all. You just saw these crazy, like, growths and these ghouls, and we only got an explanation, like, what, 5-6 volume in?
Yes, yeah, we got that explanation around past chapter 50. We were 50 chapters in before we got any explanation for how these ghouls fight. And not just that, but it was one of the worst chapters, because it was like they didn't try to like integrate it into a fight scene. They didn't try to like let it be explained through showing us. Literally, one of the characters said, "Let me just be your teacher for a minute," and the other character was like, "Okay," and then we just sat and read about it.
But also,
like 10 pages.
But my thing is, right, Juzo, he joined this special squad. Why does he need a lecture on this? You should already kind of know what you're going into when you're doing Ghoul Academy or whatever, and he has to go in.
You would think, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would think, because I get what you mean, Cass. Like, Juzo was introduced, so we as the reader could start learning stuff as Juzo learns it. But now I'm like, they had to go to Academy for this stuff. So why is he learning it here while in practice, basically?
I mean, they mentioned that they didn't understand how he like got to where he is, and I feel like he's kind of.
That is right.
Also,
I also don't understand. I also don't understand. I don't want him there. No, I mean, I don't want him there. Unless he's gonna go bat-ish crazy.
I mean, that's what it seems like. Like he's attacking people, and like he's basically worse than some of the ghouls we've seen so far, and even
Yep.
worse than Mato. And he seems to be just extremely crazy and very much that whole humanity is evil in this story, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Sui Ishida is in the chat because he said, "Heard y'all talking that ish. Don't talk about my creation." I want to know who that is in the chat.
The Sui Ishida account.
When you're just not Goda. That is also facts.
Oh
But
my god.
I guess the thing is with Tokyo Ghoul, like I was saying earlier, it like literally like it does turns like exposition heavy. Now it's time for a full two volumes full of action. Then it goes exposition, then action. Like it never, like I said, never just paces it out evenly. Like there's never like small mini fights to happen.
Yeah.
Like that, except for like maybe in the first arc, maybe when they killed that mom. But I really wouldn't even call that a fight. That was nothing.
Yeah. I think that there were moments earlier in the story where Ishida could have actually started to explain some of the basics of how what do they call? Oh, I can't remember any of these damn names. What do you call a ghoul's power? They're
The Kagune?
Kagune. I think there were many moments where descriptions or even like brief interactions as to how the Kagune work prior to that Juzo scene that could have given us some base layer knowledge of it that would have been a little bit more integrated with the storytelling. I think there were a lot of actual moments, even like thinking about when we saw Kin and Toka having a lot of training sequences. We saw a lot of moments between Mato and Amon beforehand where there were opportunities where they could have done a little bit of this quality checking about telling us as the reader about how this works. Hell, even Amon or Mato could have expressed when he was in front of the two girls how his Kinke was based off of, X, Y, and Z, and that's why it's going to overpower them in that moment. Because obviously, I think that's why Mato thought he was going to win. He probably, because he had the bottom one, I think, and Toka technically has the top one, so he would have the upper hand or whatever. I can't remember what all four of the different types are called, but it's like shoulders, mid back, and then butt cheeks or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like whichever one is lower, like was it loses against the upper one or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So there was a lot of but I just feel like there were opportunities for him as an author to have introduced some of these. So I don't really understand why he just left it completely unexplained for 50 chapters and then was like, oh, it worries me that the author. Obviously, there's no way to know, but it feels like the author didn't
know it.
Yeah, it feels to me like the author didn't know what he was doing until then. And then he decided to just write it all into one chapter and be like, okay, here you go, guys. And now he's trying to use it to build some more action. I mean, now we have a better understanding of what each of the actions are. When we see Kin confront Ayato, now you're starting to think like, okay, how do their things interact? How do their skills interact? So on and so forth. Chase is showing off his Demon Slayer box set. I do think that the Ward 11 arc is probably the best put together arc of the series up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely had some of the better payoffs, some of the better plot movements, some of the better characters. I mean, I really liked, like I said, I like Toka a lot more. I think that I didn't like her very much prior to this part, but I actually kind of like her as a character now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I've always liked the mask maker guy, and I like him even more during this part.
Okay.
So I don't know. What about you guys? Did you guys have any characters that are your favorites now, or that you started to like more, or don't like more?
Toka was a character that she got enough backstory enough for me to be like, okay, I'm kind of down with it. You're a bit edgy, like you act a little too uptight for me still, but I kind of get where you're coming at. Nishio, I like him more. But that's also not saying much for how I already felt about him before. But I do like him more because he's kind of one of those people, like, when they was talking about going to go save Ken, they was like, "You're not gonna go save him? We gotta go save him." Like he was like, "I gotta pay him back." Like basically, he was on that. He was one of those number one guys. Who like, we gotta go save Ken Kaneki. I like Banjo. He was a funny. His introduction was kind of funny, where Ken knocks him out so easily. So it just shows like either how strong Ken Kaneki is, or like really how weak Banjo is. But Banjo having this whole like little.
We later learned that is the case. Banjo's pretty weak.
Yeah, but he's also stronger than a lot of the other ghouls though. So
yeah, for sure.
Like I guess this thing is he has endurance, which he could take a lot, but that's really not saying much because that's more towards his willpower. But I don't know. There really wasn't much like Ken. I like him a bit more only through action rather than his actual character. Yeah. I like some of the I like some of the action. I like some of the action panels with him. Like when he was fighting Jason, basically he turned the whole count for 1,000 to 7 type thing. Like I like that. I like when he was fighting Ayato, saying like, "Oh, I have a secret." Even though I felt like that part was kind of corny. Like, "Oh, I have a secret that I want to tell you." And then Ayato's like, "What? What is the secret?" He's like, "Oh, let me tell you your secret. You didn't really want to kill your sister. You wanted to protect her, just like your father made you want to." I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, that's a little bit on the corn side.
I gotta ask both you guys this. So if you remember, during the first discussion, one of my biggest complaints about Ken Kaneki was that he was like, you know, a little bit too indecisive as a lead character, right? And I think we all agreed that he kind of was just floating through the narrative, or at least having like a lot of things happen to him, as opposed to doing things. And then what I thought was a little almost too meta was like Rize and him having a literal conversation about it. But I don't know, like it was almost too on the nose for me. Like it was almost as if the author noticed that Ken was a little too passive, and then like Headass just like added a full blown like on the nose conversation about, Ken, you're kind of passive, and Ken was like, "Well, I'll fix that shit real quick." And then
I think it was too. I think it was like too quick of a character thing for that to happen. Yeah. It was too quick for him to change personality traits just so quickly. Yeah. Like it's not one of those things that you see kind of grow. Like it was one of those. It just changed way too quickly. Like it was a flip of a coin change.
I mean, yeah, and it's like I get it that like we as the reader are sitting there and we're like, okay, he was getting fucking like brutally tortured for multiple days. You know, like as the reader, that's part of like what we were experiencing, right? Like we were like, okay, he's getting brutally tortured, and we're supposed to kind of believe that amidst that torture, which obviously getting tortured like that is going to lead to some pretty, your brain ain't gonna work no good, you know, like that sort of torture is going to fuck you up in all sorts of ways. PTSD, you know, like all sorts of mental issues are going to be developed from like that level of torture. So I just found it a bit odd that the author just kind of like used that, like that one thing essentially as that was it. He was like, I've got it. I'll just fucking torture Ken for one chapter, and then he'll just like wake up a better character on the other side. And that's it. Like he was like, maybe if Rize talks to him in a dreamlike state and is like, "Why are you such a little bitch, Ken?" And Ken's like, "You're right. I'm kind of a little bitch. I better stop doing that." And then he just wakes up and he's like, "Okay, I'll quit being a little bitch. My bad." Which honestly, badass Ken Kaneki, I kind of like him a lot better than not badass Ken Kaneki.
Even though the white hair is edgy though. The white hair is edgy.
Oh, that was.
And him having the chains on still, bro, super edgy, super edgy, dog.
Edgy. Oh, I hated it so much.
I did like, you know, him doing the backflips and all that. I'm like, all right, where did you learn this move from? Because I know Toke ain't teach you that.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, kind of like what you were saying, when it came to, I kind of wish it would show what he was thinking while he was getting tortured, because we really just see him getting tortured. That's all we see. Then, like you said, in one chapter, we see him getting tortured. Now he's having this full-blown conversation in the middle of this one torture scene, rather than us really kind of seeing where his thoughts are while he was getting tortured over the progression of days where he was getting tortured. So, right. I do agree with that. I mean, I like the torturing. It was cool, but then I was like, some parts of it, I like the torture.
It was just a little on the, like, have you ever heard that phrase, like, on the nose?
Yeah.
Like, that's, you know, it's when, like, a story is just maybe a little bit too, like, heavy-handed with, like, its delivery, and that us as the reader, obviously we get it, but, like, we almost get it a little too, like, we're like, okay, you know, and I think that sometimes Ishida can just be a little heavy-handed. Up to this point, I feel that. Like, I just feel like there's so many moments where it's like, okay, Ishida, cool it. You know, you can tell the same story. You don't have to, you know, You know, I don't know, but maybe that's just me. I mean, I just think the torture went a little bit weird to me. But I mean, the artwork was mostly good, other than some of the torturing we didn't really get to see full blown. It was a lot of like black panels and Kin just going, you know.
Yeah. I guess my thing was, like, I laugh at it now, but this man is literally chopping off his limbs, just hurting him, just killing Ken Kaneki, but he's regenerating. But when he sees that bug about to go in his ear, he just starts freaking out, like it's like he's not about to see tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, this little bug is about to really do something compared to him chopping your toes off and you regrowing them. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I can see where we going at with this. I don't know. It was funny. I was laughing every time he was getting tortured because I'm like, yo, I don't know. I like the character of Jason. Like, he was super, like, if there was like one of those like super evil type things, like he's just evil just to be evil. And I'm like, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
That was definitely his concept.
I will say that his character was really ugly though. Like his character was
yeah.
Like his character in the manga is super ugly compared to the anime counterpart. Like it's super ugly. Yeah. And I don't know if it's meant to be like that by design to make him look more ugly, unappealing as a monster. But he just looks so ugly. Like every time I looked at him, I was repulsed each page. Like I was like, dog, get this man off of here.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Chase. I don't know.
Well, how are y'all feeling about the next 6 volumes we have left?
It couldn't end any faster for me. That's the
Let me see. Let me look at the calendar. Okay, so
we should just come next week with all 6 read.
Jerry, people are barely doing it with the 4 we got now. What are you talking about? I was thinking maybe the 30th if I'm here, because that's the day after my birthday. The 30th, if we're here, we just come back with all 6 volumes read. That gives people 3 weeks to read all 6 volumes.
Oh, I'm in. Yeah, let's do it.
Or we could do the next 2 weeks. Say it again, Cass.
People are still not gonna read it though.
See, that's what I was thinking. I was like,
come on.
I was thinking maybe we should do it on the 23rd. Read all 6 volumes. That gives us 2 weeks. 6 volumes over 2 weeks. That's what? 6 volumes, 14 days. You could read at least half a volume a day and still be up to date on the 23rd.
We could do it.
That's what I'm thinking. That way it could give us a week of break, and then we go to Demon Slayer on the 7th.
Yummy.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, because I know we're all ready to get done with Tokyo Ghoul, because I feel like besides the people who has that really like it, like Matt and 2, we're all kind of done with Tokyo Ghoul. I don't know about you, Cass. How are you enjoying it, Cass?
I'm enjoying it. I don't really feel strongly towards it or anything, but I'm enjoying it.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
I think everyone else, like, I know Edgar and Owen were both trying to read it, but I think they both just like dropped it, honestly. And I don't know who else, if there was anyone else that was like trying to read along with us that hasn't already read it. I just don't know if anyone else was reading along with us or not.
Jesse has already read it. 2 already read it.
Jesse,
Matt's already read it.
Matt, they already read it.
Yeah, Edgar's too late. I'm not sure about Owen. I know Trippy already missed it. I'm trying to look. Sue, he already read it.
Oh yeah, Sue's read it.
Dang.
So I mean, yeah, we're the final 3 right now. The 3 of us are keeping up. So we gotta wrap this conversation up at least. So the 3, me, Cass, and Che, the 3 of us, we gotta read it to the end at this point.
Yeah, sadly. I mean, we're already halfway there. We might as well just finish it out.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're not touching Ree. Well, Cass might touch Ree. I'm not.
Cass might go Ree. I don't know. Cass, you think you'd want to read Ree?
I'm like looking at Amazon right now, looking at the volumes and so on. So yeah,
God damn,
I'm gonna pick it up.
Like I'll buy Tokyo Ghoul to support it, because I did read it on the Shonen Jump app, and I just feel so cheap not buying the volumes, only reading it all for $1.99. Now Boruto, different story. But I'm at least gonna try and get the box set for Tokyo Ghoul.
Don't even talk. You bought it all.
No, I didn't.
Boy, I
got only 4 volumes back there.
That's a lot of that's 4 more than you should have.
Look, I had to try the series out for the review though.
Oh my god. And I bet your bottom dollar, Chase, that you're gonna end up with all 12 volumes one of these days.
Indeed. Indeed.
The volumes for Boruto.
Yeah, they look terrible. Yeah. Like the story inside of it is just as boring.
I'm only getting it to complete the Naruto show. Like that has to finish up Naruto. I already got 4.
The manga, the guys involved with Boruto, they said they want it to be where all of Naruto and Boruto together are exactly 100 volumes. Let
me press the doubt button. Let me press the doubt button real quick.
We're only halfway.
So how many? I'm trying to think of how many volumes of the original Naruto are there?
How many volumes of Naruto? There's 72.
72. And then how many Boruto volumes are already like out in Japan?
Well, in English I think it's like 12.
Yeah, I think English is 12. I think we already have 16 in Japan, right? Oh no, 15.
Either way, we would need 28. Matt, we would need 28.
Yeah, 28. So when it gets to
each volume has 4 chapters. Each volume has like 4 chapters.
Right. So that means we're over halfway to the end of Boruto.
Yeah, we just need 112 chapters, and we'll probably be done with Boruto. But it's like 60-something chapters already, so yeah.
63, yeah. So, but that means that at that pace, that means that it'd be, okay, how much longer? Because it would be every month they release 1 chapter. Let's do the math here.
Look, 12 chapters. 12 chapters a year.
12 chapters a year, and there's already 63 chapters out. So 12, 24, 36. That'd be enough, right? Yeah, so that means there's only 3 years of Boruto left, everyone.
Wait, no, 4 years, right?
Hey.
4 years,
12,
right?
24, 12, 24, 30.
Wait. 12 times 4 is 48.
What's 12 times 3?
12 times 3 is 36.
Oh, shit. 60.
Plus 63.
40.
Yeah, we need 4 years. We got 4 years of Boruto.
God damn it.
And you know, that's if Shonen Jump looks at what Shonen Jump is like, yo, Boruto, that's making the money right now. Y'all gotta keep going. I don't care.
No, boo. Boo.
But what, I mean, they might do it though. I don't know.
So here's the deal.
Blue pill or blue pill? What?
Here's the deal with Tokyo Ghoul. I think that on one hand, it's a fine seinen action series. Okay. I think it's fine. I don't think that it is terrible. I also don't think that it is like a particularly great series so far. Obviously, I'll finish it, at least the first part. Maybe I'll read one of these days. I don't know, but I don't think it's a particularly great series by any means. But it's perfectly palatable is the word that I would use. Like up through volume 8, the series is perfectly palatable. I don't know. I don't, in a normal setting, I don't think I would have ever read this much of it. I just don't like the world. I don't like the concept. Nothing about it is like something that I would normally read is the word that I want to use. Like, I don't find the designs particularly like appealing. I don't really like the look or the feel of the world. Now I'm just going on personal preference, not really trying to enrage any Tokyo Ghoul fans out there. But I also think that the narrative is just a bit weak. I mean, we talked about it earlier, but just a lot of it's just uneven. The narrative is a little uneven. Things happen slowly with lots of exposition, or things happen too fast with no exposition. There's a lot of that back and forth, and I think the pacing of the series just kind of flops around. And I also think that and I want to hear your guys' opinions on this, but like, I think that a lot of other long-running series, they do a good job of like establishing like an end goal. Like there's something that has to get done before this can end. Usually that goal is something very far away or something very like, lofty. And that's sort of the idea behind some of these long-running shows. But I don't even know if I really know what Tokyo Ghoul's end goal is yet.
Like Tokyo Ghoul and not Ghoul and Reed together?
Yeah, like I don't know if I don't know what we're trying to get to.
I guess maybe the question of who dropped the steel beam on him, maybe?
Yeah,
maybe?
I mean we've opened up this question of like what is reason, but like to me like it doesn't feel like the characters are like fighting for something big. Like there's like if Kin Kaneki died in the next volume, the story could just keep going. Like I don't know if I would care. Like there's no like Kin is not trying to do something or like end something or make something happen. And I think that that's where I'm kind of getting a little lost in all of it is that Matt's trying to say okay, Matt, I'll be up front. It's bad if someone if we've read 80 chapters and there's still a bigger plot to come. Like, something should be driving the characters at this point. Like, this is 80 chapters of work. This is over 2 years that someone had poured into writing the story at this point. And it's like, it's just unfortunate that, you know, as a reader, you should be building to something. There should be something that we're trying to get to. I mean, even in classical literature, like looking at something like The Lord of the Rings, right? Like, The Lord of the Rings had an end goal. That was the whole thing behind it, right? That's what makes it. I mean, even things like Star Wars, and I mean, pretty much all great things have some sort of end resolution. But I'm just not sure, like, what the end of Tokyo Ghoul is. And I think that concerns me because oftentimes, like, as a reader, I want to have something to be fighting for. Like, I want to be excited about why Ken's doing this or doing that. But a lot of times so far, I just don't care because I'm like, I don't know why you're fighting or what you're getting yourself into. And Matt's just going to come in and be like, Jerry, when you read it's all one interconnected plot. You know, here he comes to tell it, you know, Jerry, if you just read it all, no, I'm just, but you know, it's one of those things where it's like, I just feel like right now we as a reader deserve a little bit more purpose in this series, and there's just not a lot of it yet. And because of that, it makes a lot of the stakes and the you know, in a good story, you want to build stakes, and you want to have you want your readers to be really invested in the experiences of your characters. And in order to do that, you have to build stakes. You have to build you know, something for us as a reader to hold on to. And I just think that this world has not done it's not the Ishida as an author just hasn't done a fantastic job building out that. And I think that's been my biggest, you know, at the end of the day, that's been my biggest reason for not really liking Tokyo Ghoul very much, I think. And it's not that they needed to like shout in my face like he's going to be the king of the ghouls in the first chapter. I don't need that. But you know what I mean? Like we don't need that to be said to us, but we need to have something narratively that the characters are working towards that's bigger than something that's I think that he was going for something that was a little more like theoretical. You know, this whole like ghoul and human harmony might be the goal per se, right? That seems to be some of the underlying thematic presence that's really there in the first part of Tokyo Ghoul, the first 8 volumes. And that's cool, but it just feels lofty. It feels not very centered, and it doesn't even really feel like it was ever Ken Kaneki's like explicit goal, but it instead is just sort of the goal and expectation and hope of the larger narrative that he's been sucked into, which I think that makes it harder again to just get invested in the characters themselves. But Cass, Chase, you guys have been reading as well, and obviously Matt, who's now joined us.
I have something to ask you, Jerry. So let's compare this series to one of my favorites, obviously, as we all know, Parasite. Would you say something like Parasite, where I like the main character Shinichi? He's not all that interesting, but he's just your average, typical guy. He gets his parasite. Would you say something like, I guess, where Matt was going, where we haven't uncovered the bigger plot? Kind of like with Parasite, where we don't necessarily have a plot. We're just living through Shinichi, having to live through this parasite, and one thing happens after another, basically, to him in this world. So I'll have to closely compare it to that. So how do you feel about something like that?
There's some similarities there for sure.
Like, we know at the end, Shinichi fights this big old parasite, and, you know, they end up obviously beating it. But, you know, that parasite isn't, like, you know, confirmed, or, you know, there's no huge plot to be uncovered, you know, prior, like, early, like, within the first 2 or 3 volumes of the actual Parasite manga. So would you compare something like that with this?
I think there's some similarities for sure. I think that Parasite and Tokyo Ghoul have some similarities. I think that in some ways Parasite does a little bit better about building out Shinichi as a character and giving him a little bit more like motivation early on, so that you as a reader can be like, okay, I've never read the manga, only going off the anime for that one, because I've only watched the anime for Parasite.
I've read some of the manga. There's only small changes with the anime to make it just more current, to make it more current. Like, you know, they have the internet now.
Right.
You know.
I think that part of it is also sort of like the fact that Shinichi and Migi, there's a character connection that's built there, and early in that series, it establishes sort of Shinichi's drive to try to understand or I mean, part of what the central theme of Parasite is actually very similar to the central theme of Tokyo Ghoul, right?
That's the one part I do like.
Yeah, they have a very similar central theme. Is this overlap of coexistence is the word I want to use.
Yeah. I just want to say like self-identity, I guess, because it's like, they're always both questioning, am I this or am I that? Or like, what? There's nothing really in the middle. There's no one else that's like me. Like, where do I fit within the world that I'm in?
Yeah. And I think that some of what Parasite really does well is it paces itself a little bit differently. It's able to kind of slowly tease out some of the mysteries of the world in a way that works, I think, for me as a viewer. Where Tokyo Ghoul, and I've already said it twice tonight, so I don't need to say it a third time, or else I'm going to act like I'm about to start sounding like Sui Ishida. But it's this pacing issue. It's uneven pacing, where it's a lot of like fast-paced action for 2, 3, 4 chapters, followed by these heavy exposition dumps. Where I think Parasite did a little bit better job of sort of sprinkling in the mystery and the unveilings of it, and
highly agree.
The characters. So to me, I think that's one of the bigger strengths. And yeah, I honestly, it wouldn't surprise me, and obviously I don't know any research on this, but it wouldn't surprise me if Tokyo Ghoul was inspired by Parasite to some extent.
I mean, honestly, I agree, because I feel like Parasite helped lay a foundation for a series like this.
Yeah, I feel like somewhere in the history, I mean, I'd have to look up some interviews, but I wonder if maybe Sui Ishida has said, oh, okay, nope. I just found a Reddit article that maybe both of them were inspired by a thing called metamorphosis. I don't know what metamorphosis is, but I'm gonna look it up. But that it just means they were probably both inspired by earlier works, and that makes sense to me as well. That happens a lot. It's kind of like saying like, I don't know, like Jujutsu Kaisen was inspired by Naruto, but Naruto was inspired by fucking Dragon Ball. Like there's always, and Dragon Ball was inspired by obviously Journey to the West. Like, you know what I mean? Like everything has, the farther back you can trace it.
Of course, I get what you're saying, but like I mean, I literally put Sui Ishida inspired by Parasite. Stuff just like, obviously stuff literally just came up for it. Like there's a YouTube video before Tokyo Ghoul, there was Parasite. It's a 10-minute video.
Oh wow. I mean, yeah, I'm sure lots of people have noted the similarities more than us. Yeah, I'm sure we're not the first people to be like, wait a second.
No, of course not. But also there comes the comparisons of what makes each series better in their own respective rights. Like I think obviously Tokyo Ghoul has more memorable characters, even though I feel like with Parasite the characters don't really play a factor except for Migi and Shinichi's relationship. That's what we're really focused on. But Tokyo Ghoul, we need those other characters because we really can't care about Kaneki. Like it's literally the opposite. We don't care about the main character. In this situation we do care about the main character. So
we've slowly, I mean, the last 2 volumes that we read, Kaneki has become a drastically different character. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how else to put it, but like the experience he had in volume, what was it, 6 or whatever, like completely transformed who Kin Kaneki is. So I have no idea what Kin's gonna look like in the last half of this series. Like, not like physically look like, but what types of actions, decisions, character motivations he's gonna have, because he went through like a vast transformation in this little piece that we read. That's definitely got me sort of just like torn up. Like I honestly am like, okay, I can't even I can't even think about this Kin Kaneki because he's about to be a whole different Kin Kaneki than the Kin Kaneki we've seen for the first 6 volumes.
Yes.
So I'm ready to kind of see, I guess, where that's leading me. But I don't know. I again, I think it goes back to my bigger question of like, I just think it's not that we needed him to be like, I'm gonna be king of the ghouls at the beginning. But I do think that this narrative would have been a little bit more sharp if there was some sort of massive... And I think maybe the owl guy is, like, kind of the setup for...
I think he's Yoshimura.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah. Old man Yoshimura. I mean, I think the owl guy... I think that we're setting up something now, finally, for an end game. But I just am not sure why it took us 80 chapters to, like... And this is just a critique of the way the narrative's being presented. I just think I just think he's taken too long to build something there. Like the author, and whether or not he knew what he was doing. I mean, at the end of the day, he was running this on a weekly serial. And one thing that we have to remember about weekly serialization is that while authors may have created small parts of what they're doing or what their plan is, a lot of times things shift and change as you go through weekly serialization.
Mhm.
And Tokyo Ghoul is published weekly over the course of many years. And to me, that I just can see some of the holes in Ishida here, in that like working under this weekly constraint may have caused him to shift or change some things along the way. And you can see that in a lot of weekly series. I mean,
Mhm.
not normal people really can't really work under the weekly stress, that comes with writing a weekly manga.
Mhm. I have a
And I can
question
see
actually.
Wait, what?
I said I have a question.
What?
So, say with this, right? Would you feel like where we stopped off in volume 8 would it have been an all right ending for just like a Tokyo Ghoul part 1 type thing? And then the next rest of Tokyo Ghoul would be where mostly the manga, I guess, comprised of the story of Ken figuring out like where does he fit in the world, and then at the end him saying I'm a ghoul, like he finally accepts he's a ghoul, kind of like how we say the same thing about Goku in the Frieza arc, how the Frieza arc could have been the end of Dragon Ball Z. We would have been all right with that. Do you feel like Tokyo Ghoul part 1, not could have ended at this moment right here and left us with that cliffhanger of okay, he needs to figure out all this other stuff, but this is for more of a setup for part 2, while part 1 it more establishes him self-identifying or him finding his identity within this world. Then at the end he's like I'm a ghoul, and he just creates all this havoc and saves his friends and stuff like that. And now he's like, okay, I gotta go off, then time skip.
I liked this conclusion here, but I also think that unfortunately, like, the author laid way too many threads in this arc for him to just like conclude it right there. So I'm curious to see how the actual conclusion of initial Tokyo Ghoul is, because to me he set up an end game for this part, and I think it's going to end with this Owl King, One-Eyed Owl, whatever the fuck his name is. And there's going to be, obviously, he's a shared enemy. I think that Kaneki is both going to want to take out, maybe. But the one thing about the One-Eyed Owl is that he doesn't kill anyone. So I'm also kind of like, maybe Kaneki will figure something else out with that. I'm not sure. But setting up the One-Eyed Owl, setting up Juzo Suzuya as this crazy motherfucker with obviously going to be an incredible Kinkei, because we know that the person he's building it from was incredibly powerful. So
but
we have
also,
that as another.
but also Ken Kaneki ate some of his Kinkei. I mean his Kagune.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. And I thought that was really dope, and it helped him to develop his Kakuja, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Which
yes.
is like his hard outer shell. As long as you eat another ghoul,
Something like that. I think like you develop like what, like a few more, I guess a few more Kagunes or something like that. Like I don't know, like that whole part where they giving that exposition was.
My understanding of it is that when you eat another ghoul, your cells alter in a way that would cause the creation of what they have now dubbed a Kakuja, which is what the CCG has called it as of where we're at. And what we saw was there were actually what are the officers? Two of the officers obviously had developed Kinkeis that were Kakujas, which I thought was pretty interesting, because Ishida set up the concept of Kakujas and then was like, oh look, two of our special investigators already have Kinkei made of Kakuja. So I don't know, there was a lot of things going on with those descriptions, but
yeah,
that's my understanding of it, is that it's sort of a hard outer shell. It's sort of like a second level to your Kagune. But it only happens if you have to eat another ghoul to get to that. Also, total side note, I can't believe the fucking gourmet guy ate himself after she told him to. One of my least favorite written lines of anything ever, when she said, "Go eat yourself." I was like, fuck you.
He was like, you know what? I did it, and it actually worked.
Turned around and ate himself, and I was like, fuck you, Sui Ishida. I was like, this is stupid.
Oh man.
That was one of those moments where I was literally like, I was taken aback. I was like, I hate this. I was like, that was literally one of those moments where I was like, I was having a dreadful experience reading when he was like, surprise, I'm back because I ate myself.
Yeah, which I wouldn't think about the logic. Like, did he heal himself through that? Like,
I guess.
yeah,
eating
but
yourself-
I guess the part that he ate though, like, is that back or like how does that work?
Did
Like,
you
you
get
really-
a kakuju? Do you get a kakuju from eating yourself?
Like-
Does that happen? I don't know.
I guess the logic in that, I was like, I was like, all right. And then he wants to be Ken. And then he wants to be Ken Kaneki's subordinate. He's basically a Orochimaru in this series.
Yeah, he's acting up, dog. He went from bad to good real fast. Like,
Facts.
he pulled that Frieza shit. No, Frieza's still kind of bad.
No, he pulled that Orochimaru in the 4th grade ninja war when he was acting like a good guy at the end.
I'll take that. But I think that's all of my thoughts. Positives, other positives. Like I said earlier, I like Toka a lot in this part of the series. I think she's grown a lot. I like where Kaneki's character is headed. I think that he is better now. I mean, we did finally get a flashback too. What do you think about the flashback, Chase? Kaneki's flashback.
You talking about with his mother and his father and all that?
Yeah,
I get it, but to me, it doesn't add too much to his character. It's seeing that he doesn't exhibit any of those traits outside already.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying? At least with Toka, she's cold, kind of mean, heartless. She has this like super hard outer shell. But you know, we think, oh, it's something had to happen for it to be like that. With Ken, he was already a boring character. Nothing made him special, but he has a super elaborate backstory where it plays no part in where he's at, what we know of him previously. So I'm like, what the F?
Yeah.
I'm like, to me, that backstory just felt so unnecessary because it didn't add no factor to it in his character beforehand.
Yep, I felt the same way. It was the only thing I
it was forced
about it a little bit was like, what did I actually like? I don't know. I don't know if I liked it at all. The whole woke is in here now listening. God damn it. He caught me right at the good parts when I'm actually talking about I have to give props where props are due. I can't just think about a series in like a constructive way. I can think about like what I liked about it too. Yeah, I think that some of the fight scenes were actually pretty sweet, but that's just me. I think some of the fights were pretty sweet.
Same, even though he still doesn't have that hand to me when it comes to action, because sometimes I'm like, I'm confused on what exactly is happening because the little Kagune things go all over the place.
Sometimes the paneling is a little confusing, but I still thought, especially his fight with Jason.
I like that.
Yeah, that fight went ham.
I did like that.
I like that one too. But yeah,
I like Toka versus her brother.
Yeah. Oh, Toka and Ayato. Yes, I mentioned that earlier too. Yeah.
Yes,
that
and
was really good.
And the one last thing I liked is when they used the Kakuja on their bodies, like when it fully transformed them, like when it formed around them. I was like, all right, that concept is dope. To me, the fight wasn't as dope though.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know. Those are kind of my main positives of this chunk of it. I do think this was probably, like I said earlier, the best part so far. I had more fun reading volumes 6, 7, and 8 than I have any of the previous volumes. The first 5 were just not. I mean, I said it last week. I personally just wasn't feeling it. But 6, 7, and 8 are a little better. But that's kind of my only positives. I think the rest, I've kind of already talked about all of my other feelings on it. But I don't know. That's all I got, Chase.
I mean, Matt's the person that's gonna really close us out with this whole conversation. He had to come in here and say what he had to say.
I wasn't gonna pop up today, but I had to.
Wrap us up, dog.
I mean, all right. So I'm not here to justify it. Obviously, like we all like what we like, you know. So
yeah, of course.
I'm here to draw a comparison, which seems very similar in my eyes. And I didn't think Parasite even kind of came close. I didn't even really think about Parasite in the first place, but
that's the only thing I could think about when I read Tokyo Ghoul, honestly.
But yeah, so when I first read it, I was like, dude, what does this like come to? And then I finished Attack on Titan. I was like, dude, this is literally like, not a carbon copy, but like this is literally like Attack on Titan. Like, so we have an MC who's forced into this like bizarre situation by like the standards around him, you know. What else? Let's see. I'm trying to go down my list and like collect my thoughts. The world. So Jerry's gonna be like, yo, read. So I'm not gonna say like read, but I'm just gonna say like, there's a lot much going on in the world that Ken doesn't understand that he's been like forced into, and that's kind of just like the comparison with Eren. You know, he's like taken on the Attack Titan role, and the world is much bigger than what they know it, and like he doesn't really know the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind
I
of how I
agree,
draw
I
the
agree.
comparison with that. Like obviously not justifying it, just trying
Yeah,
to like
weren't these? Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. I think Titan actually came out just a little bit before Tokyo Ghoul, right?
I mean, like
Let me
yeah, two
double check the year.
I
two
guess
main
my
characters, two crybaby main characters. You know, like
I guess my thing is like Aaron has a distinctive character trait to me. Like Aaron has a distinctive character trait. He has a distinctive character goal. Like he wants to rid the world of Titans. He wants to protect his city. He wants to make sure all that's gone. And then he obviously wants revenge. And he's a really big loudmouth. Like he has that bravado. Like he acts like he's bigger than what he really was, even before he became a scout. So I guess my thing is like with Aaron, I don't know. I just draw more similarities to Shinichi rather than Aaron. You get what I'm saying? Like, I guess that's why I rarely see it, because every time you say that, I think of Aaron. And I'm like, I know Aaron's character, especially when we see season 4. Like season 1, I know Aaron's character. Season 2, 3, I know Aaron's character. I guess with Ken Kaneki, I really don't know where he's going. He doesn't have an established goal.
Yeah,
I guess in terms of like their personality, obviously, like one's very
Loud,
like out there, you know, and like Kaneki's like very to himself.
Yes.
But I don't think that should affect like the circumstances that they're like put into. Like I don't want to mention this because I don't know if this is spoilers yet to where you guys got, but like there is a thing that Kaneki will come. It is in Tokyo Ghoul. It's not in Re, but like there is a conversation that happens with Ken on like what he wants to do and like what is his main drive.
Yeah,
he does come with, and like the fact of him.
It
having
seems
that
like, and here I'll tell you, Matt. So where we stopped off. The last thing he said was, right, everyone was like, oh, we're going to just go back to Antiku. And then Ken looked at everyone. He was like, actually, nah, fam. Like, I have something else I have to go get done. And he was like, okay, well. And then Banjo and Yukimura, is that his name? The gourmet were like, well, we'll come with you, Ken. And Ken was like, okay. But Toka was like, well, I want to come. And then he was like, nah, Toka, you got to stay back with Antiku, dog. But it seemed like in that moment, that he has something he needs to do, if that makes any sense. And I assume that we're going to start to learn what that is in the coming chapters.
Whether you like it or not, completely up to you. But I compare that conversation right there with the Aaron and Mikasa and Armin conversation. You know? Yeah. Not trying to like, not in the same way he went about it, but obviously he tried to push them away by like making them hate him, obviously, and that was the intention of what he was doing. But Ken went about it on like a much more different way because of his personality, obviously, like the difference of how they do. Indulge himself in conversation and like adapt to it.
I see the thematic comparison you're making between AOT and Tokyo Ghoul. I think it's a pretty solid, like, thematic comparison. I think that you've got a pretty good setup there. At least,
I guess I can't compare those two.
But I don't
think I can compare those two arguments. Are you talking about the one that happened in season 4, part 1?
I mean, that was the most obvious like thing, like. Display of it, I would say, but like throughout the series, like the thing, it's kind of like I'm trying to think.
I have to see where Ken Kaneki goes, but I think that if I think I would know where he's going, then maybe I will agree with you more. But I don't know what happens.
Jared, get you some water.
This obviously.
But the thing is, like, I compare that, like, instant change of Kaneki, like, turning his hair white and, like, just popping off crazy, kind of to, like, Aaron's, like, thing when they're trapped underground and he's, like, crying and Levi just, like, complains. He's like, yo, listen, you're either going to do this or we're just going to die right here, like, you know? And then with Ken, it was either just, like, I'm just going to keep here, like, keep getting tortured or I'm going to get out of this situation, you know? Like, forced to adapt by the situation around you, you know? Like obviously it's not on the same high stakes level of like I just feel like people like
I think you're
Attack on Titan more.
I think you're onto something.
There's more combat in Attack on Titan, so people eat that up, and like the transition is like a little more smoother. I would say it's a shorter series, so like the transition does have to be like super quick and fast and like go nice.
Yeah, I think that the only thing with the Titan, and this is just a personal thing, but I think that it does a little bit of a better job, not like holding your hand as much as Tokyo Ghoul kind of has. With some of the theming, I think that it's kind of left itself up for a little bit more interpretation. But also I think it has a little bit of a better pace, which might be something that the anime has fixed about Titan. Obviously, I've never read the Titan manga. I think the anime has improved some of the things that were wrong with the Titan manga, including it potentially pacing and just delivery of concept. So I think that with Titan, it has a little bit of, and Chase is right, is that Titan opens with a pretty clear goal. You know, whether or not that goal stays the same, which obviously if you're caught up, you know that it doesn't exactly. But there is a clear goal at the onset of the series that gives you as a reader a little bit more reason to care about the characters, and I think that gets you a little more invested or a little more bought in. And I think the world building happens in a little bit of a better pace in Titan, just a little bit. I do think Titan also has a couple expo dumps that I remember that I didn't like as much, especially in
season 3,
two,
part 1.
No, season 2 to me, there's a little too much. But you're right, it kind of carries into season 3, part 1. There's a little bit of expo dumping. Huh?
Easier to get sucked into Attack on Titan because the shock value in those first few episodes is like no other anime, you know?
Yeah, oh yeah, and Titan has a really good through line, you know. It's got like a really nice jump start at the beginning. Obviously, I haven't read the end of Titan. I know that it's supposedly ends pretty bad, but
Hey, that's
where
up for
we're at
interpretation.
where we're at with the anime right now, you know, I'm waiting for the final season. I feel really strongly that Titan is a bit of a better pieced together world. Not better pieced together. I actually think Tokyo Ghoul has good world building. I just think it's not delivered the best all the time, if that makes any sense. Like I actually think there is actually some pretty strong world building elements. I just think sometimes Ishida struggles to deliver them in a way that is compelling or in a way that is easy to follow or stay invested in. I think that's my bigger
I can agree with that.
yeah, I don't think that I actually think he has some pretty solid moments where I'm okay, this is a cool concept or this is a cool world.
My problem with
mhm.
I think Ishida kind of holds your hand a bit. My problem with Isayama is he transitions to the story, and then I feel like his pacing is like way too fast, and he's like, "Oh my god, I forgot to throw this in a certain part." So now he has to rush it
Yeah.
into like a half season worth of like stuff, and then you have to like take it all in. Like the first half of season 3,
Okay, boys.
Chase was like, "I hate this," and like he kind of had to fit all that into that.
Oh yeah.
I love the book club, but
Go do your thing. Go do your thing.
I have to go eat dinner before I go to the movie. So I'm gonna go. And wife just told me dinner was ready, so I'm gonna jump off. But Matt, I think that I have to tell you, and I said it last week or the last time we talked to. It was 2 weeks ago now. But and yes, I'm gonna throw a little bit more shade because I do think there's still some messy parts. But Tokyo Ghoul is not that bad. I mean, I don't think it's. I think it's perfect. I said it earlier. Perfectly palatable. It's a perfectly palatable manga, one that's digestible and one that has some good themes and much. And I said it already. I think this is the best part that we've read. I think that volumes 5 through, or really 6 through 8, are the best part so far. So we'll have to see where it goes from here, and maybe it just gets better. I don't know. I've heard good things about the end of this half, so maybe it's going to be even better 9 through 14. But what do you think?
I love it. You guys had to. I kind of just draw comparisons between other stuff and tried to get what we get out of it.
Because I have a Matt, do you think that the back half is the better half, like after this Kin Kaneki awakening?
I would say so. I know the build-up's very slow, but like,
okay,
there's tons of modern series that it kind of hits on the same delivery, and people eat that up as well. But they just like the idea of it. Like, My Hero's a slow build. It's a slow burner, bro. Like that stuff did not get hard until like season 6.
I've only watched My Hero, so I don't know anything about My Hero's manga either. But I really like the conclusion of My Hero's first season, the battle with the Nomus, where everyone's sort of where they're attacked by the villain. But that's just because I think that setup and that conclusion for that first season was really strong. I think that slowly My Hero's muddied the water a little bit as it's gone on, but I've heard the next part that we're about to get into with the anime is going to get even better. So I don't know.
Pretty caught up. I would say it's a progressive build-up. That's kind of what Tokyo. I mean, Tokyo Ghoul's
I've
kind of like
watched
progressive
all
build,
of the
but
My
also
Hero
slow
anime,
burner.
but never read the manga, Matt. So
it's also like a slow burner too. I would say that.
Okay, I'm gonna jump off to go get dinner with my wife. But love you guys. This was a good conversation in my opinion. But solid shit, Chase. All right, boys.
All right, Jerry. Remember, we're reading all the way up until the end for the next 2 weeks.
3 weeks, right? Or
2 to 3.
weeks?
2 to 3. Yeah.
Okay,
2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Bye. All right, Matt. You got anything to say about any of the stuff I've said?
No, I mean, I can completely get what you're getting from. Honestly, like, as someone who does love it, I do realize like that it is flawed on certain parts. I do
Yeah.
feel like the combat is a bit lackluster in Ghoul, I would say, and I hate to say Re has more combat, but it does have more combat.
Oh, you can't hear me. I don't think you can hear me. But I don't think I could do Re. After this one, I'm like, you know what? I don't know. Tokyo Ghoul is just one of those series where I read after a while, and sometimes that dialogue is just so heavy. I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of reading this. I got to read something else. I don't know.
It is a slow burn, dude. Especially for you who loves your action as well.
Yes. I love my shonens. So this one, it's not bad. I give it a 6, which on Mal is a fine. So it's fine. It's not bad. It's not the best, but it's not bad. I would say it's bad. Sadly, I had to say this on stream because I said this to you guys yesterday in the chat. I might enjoy this bad boy a little bit more, though. That Demon Slayer might get a little more wear and tear on it than Tokyo Ghoul.
I don't know, man. Once you see that art, it might hurt your eyes. That's all I'm gonna say.
That is facts. See, now that you say that, I'm thinking about the swords, the action. We'll see. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll have to see on that one.
I hate to draw the Claymore comparison like Jesse complained about, but it kind of is.
Wait, Claymore? You talking about Claymores and like the faces all look the same?
Not the faces, but like the action scenes. It's just so hard to like decipher it, like because you know it looks pretty in anime, but like when you put that stuff in black and white, man.
Oh yeah, it's hard, especially when it's sword fighting. To me, sword fighting does not translate well in manga. To me,
I don't know, man. I read Vagabond. That stuff's heat.
I haven't read Vagabond. We smoking on the Vagabond pack also. No Vagabond on the stream.
How you calling that mid?
Hey, everybody's story ain't heat. Who you know some people with some really trash stories. Don't tell me you don't. That story is probably mid for all I know.
The thing is, like, he can't do much with the story because it's based off a book that's written. So it's kind of just like the art and like a bit of manga exaggeration, you know.
Of course, I understand that. Had to put a little flavor in that.
Yeah, the touch.
Let's yo ho ho JoJo for the book club. No, Owen, we will fully support JoJo.
Yeah, bro, you don't disrespect the Rocky like that.
Facts, especially if I'm talking about it. And plus, we're going to be watching it on stream probably. We're going to be watching the episodes on stream. If I haven't been binging anime like that, we're going to be watching JoJo on stream. So y'all better be prepared and caught up. That's all I got to say. Because I'm watching that on stream.
I'm so ready for part 6, man. Y'all are not ready for part 6, but I am.
I am ready for part 6. I'm ready for anything JoJo.
It's going to happen, I promise you.
Owen said, so Matt, you haven't read part 6? I'm about to say, haven't you read all of it? You count up.
I've read all the parts, but I also buy the Japanese volumes too, so I support him.
Yeah, facts. That's what we do around here. We support. And we only yo-ho-ho the bad stuff. But if it's a company that wants to sponsor me, then I never yo-ho-ho'd any of your stuff. Just putting that out there right now. So Matt, Tokyo Ghoul, right now I give it a 6. What's your final rating on Tokyo Ghoul? Just Tokyo Ghoul, no Re.
That's I gave it a 7 out of 10, man.
Okay. I'm hoping I bump it up to 7 by the end we get done. By the end when we get done.
I think you might give it a light 7, but I think the way it ends, I think you might like it.
I'm in store. We got 2 weeks to read it. I'm gonna try to start reading it tonight. Still gotta do videos. Of course. We'll talk about it while I'm reading it. But yeah, I think that's about it for Tokyo Ghoul. Does anybody else have any opinions on Tokyo Ghoul in the chat? Still getting caught up on part 4. My sage brethren, come on, we gotta speed that up. Part 6 is literally around the corner. I buy the volumes too, the merch, and still watch the anime, so I'm supporting enough to yo ho ho it. The reason I don't yo ho ho is because when I get it physically, I know the wording might be a bit different. I feel that's the only reason. Like I don't want stuff that's like out of context. Like when you yo ho ho Komi, Tadano says the F word. Like I'm like, what? That doesn't even fit what happens in the English version. I'm like, no, I'm not yo ho ho and stuff that I really like. If it's stuff that's like, like I really don't care about, then yeah, I'll yo ho ho it. I'm gonna finish part 6 before the anime releases. Go ahead, Owen.
I mean, I've watched them and I've reread them when I bought them in physical too. So like, I'm kind of obsessed, dude.
Oh, well, that's understandable, but I mean, it's just JoJo, one of the best anime series out there. So I fully support that. But yeah, Tokyo Ghoul. I really have nothing else to say. Matt, do you have anything else to say?
No, That's about it, honestly.
Oh, let me smoke that pack a little bit.
My final farewell will be part 6 is an 8 out of 10. That's what I will say.
Oh, if you had to rank everything, rank everything part 1 through 6. Where would it be? What number would it be?
6. Oh man. All right. I'll put part 3 at 1, and then 6 is 2. Oh,
Part
man,
3. Part 3 is 1. 6 is 2. Okay.
Yeah.
You said part 3 is 1, so I'm already cool with your ranking. I don't care where you put everything else at.
The rest are like all 7, so that's like, ugh, that's tough.
Hey, you already put part 3 at 1, so I'm cool.
But everyone knows part 7 is my 10 out of 10. Perfect.
I've heard great things about part 7, but I gotta wait till the manga comes out. For that.
Dude, if you want to wait till 2024, that's on you, man.
I will. I got plenty of other stuff to read in the meantime.
Dude, my thing is it's only like 96 chapters too. So like, I hope they print it super.
How many pages per chapter?
I honestly couldn't even tell you.
It's monthly, right?
Yeah, I think that's when part 7 started becoming monthly, like
so
the end, and then
so
part
so
8
then it
was
should
monthly.
be so then it should be at least 40 pages, right?
Probably around that. I would have to look at my Japanese volumes honestly and tell you.
Okay. All right.
Sometimes the volumes have like 3 chapters in them, but they're like super long. Because that's when JoJo starts becoming like a seinen.
I know.
But it's good, dude. The art is crisp, man.
Come on, it's Iraqi. Do I need to even question something like that?
Dude, it only gets better. Like, it's kind of crazy to say it only gets better, but it really does. Just when you thought he couldn't do it again, bro, he drops it even crazier.
I need more Iraqi in my life. But guys, dang, Mid-Slayer box set. Come on, Sue. Don't do that. Don't do that, Sue. Don't do that. We know what we doing with this bad boy right here. But what is this? Oh, that's my water bottle. But guys, that's about it for Tokyo Ghoul Manga Club Session Souls Part 9 actually happening. I mean, Owen, I will tell you this from the bottom of my heart.
Wait, for JoJo's?
Yes. I'm pretty sure that it's supposed to be it's supposed to be JoJo Land.
Yeah, the tentative name is JoJo's Land. Araki said he's taking a short break, whatever that means in his book, maybe like 3 months, I'm thinking. I think he's going to start releasing chapters in the new year, truthfully.
I want him. He could take a biggest break. He could take however long he wants. Get the rest you need, Araki. I love you.
Also, for the way Part 8 ended, there's like a ton of unanswered questions, so I think he had a decent like plan of how he wanted to continue.
I told you guys I want a multiverse of JoJo, but that's probably another discussion for another day right there.
No comment. No comment.
Oh God, okay, we're leaving off the stage, huh? We're leaving off the stage. Thank you guys for coming through. Matt, thank you for coming on stream. Even though you didn't plan to. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
I know you're gonna just take the notes. But guys, we are in stage for everyone, of course. If I'm in the stage for me, why would I not end it for everyone? Oh my God. But yeah, thank you guys for coming through. If you are new to the content, go ahead, follow the YouTube. If you're coming from YouTube, follow the Twitch. And first of all, I want to say shout out to JoJo because JoJo is GOAT. Secondly, Tokyo Ghoul, next 2 weeks, I'm gonna give you all guys a date. On the 23rd, we are going to read the rest of Tokyo Ghoul. On the 23rd, we are reading the rest of Tokyo Ghoul, meaning we're going to go from volume 9 to volume 14, and we're going to be talking about it on the 23rd. That gives you guys 14 days to read 6 volumes. 14 days to read 70 something chapters. Yes, it's Tokyo Mid right now, Owen. We'll get to Demon Slayer soon. But yeah, hopefully we could have some real fun with Demon Slayer, because we are going to be critiquing it. We are going to be going in on it, but we're also going to be actually open to. We're not gonna just be judging it just because it's Demon Slayer. We're gonna be open to actually, if there's some good stuff, we're gonna talk about the good stuff. If there's bad stuff, we're definitely gonna be talking about the bad stuff. But yeah. Oh, I like that little emote. But thank you guys for coming through. Love you guys. Hope you guys have a great night, safe night. Make sure y'all eat. Make sure y'all drink water. I know some of y'all been drinking that soda pop. Drink that goddamn water right now. Drink at least 2 to 3 bottles of water. Thank you guys for coming through. Love you guys. Hope you guys have a great night. This live stream will also be on the YouTube channel, Read the Dark Sage. So yes, sir. Oh, all these little W's. But yes, sir. Thank you guys for coming through. Love you guys. Dark Sage out. Peace.